Hi, this is Cheryl back with you from Farmhouse Frugally with several primitive but beautiful thrift flips. This rolling pin was at a yard sale for $2 when my husband and I were recently in Maine, and so we picked that up even though we knew that we were going to have to glue one of the handles on, but that was no big deal. Just used some wood glue, let that set, and then pulled out the black paint, painted both of the handles, and then I took these crockery stamps from IOD and some Stays On ink and just inked those up. Now I just need one for today's project, but while I have all of it out, I decided I might as well make a couple. I certainly will use the other two on another project at some time in the future. So just press that in to the fabric, and then once I had those three done, I did tear the fabric and fray the edges so that these had that primitive look on the drop cloth that I love so much. Now, since I decided that this rolling pin should still be able to be used for food, I took another piece of fabric that was very primitive and just tore that fabric to fit the rolling pin, and I just measured, kind of eyeballed it so that I would be able to make somewhat of a sleeve for this so that it would make a very nice decorative piece, but you could also slide that off and use the rolling pin if you want in the future. So I just hot glued that on, and then once that was done, hot glued the stamped piece of drop cloth also on, and you can see that I'm able to just slide that right on and off, and that is all I did other than to distress the black handles and to go ahead and add some antiquing wax to give that a really nice primitive look, and also to seal that chalk paint in for any future use. And today's challenge is part of the Third Thursday Thrift Flip with the host, Tammy from the Rusted Willow, Elizabeth from Rustic Chicks Design, and also co-host. This month is Mary Beth from MB Gray Designs. Please check those out, as well as the playlist of everyone else who's joining with us today, and that will be in the description box. Taking me on to item number 2, you may remember that I had already painted one of these baskets last week in my video. I got these at the dump. Last week I did a little hang tag and filled it with strawberries, and this week I've decided to do a floral arrangement that is somewhat more on the primitive country lines. So I just put some floral foam and some Spanish moss in the base of it, and just took some greens that I had in my stash. I'm not certain exactly where they came from, and I added a few pip berries in both burgundy and green, and then I had some cotton bowls that have been in my stash for quite some time. I believe these probably came from Hobby Lobby once upon a time, and I just fluffed those up and stuck a couple of those in just to give this a little bit of a primitive country look. So here are the first 2 flips together on my hutch in my kitchen, and I just love the way that the black and white or black and cream check looks on that with some of the other primitive pieces that I have from when I used to own a primitive country shop. And that takes me on to my next one, which is this Dollar Tree basket. And I just wanted to use the similar idea on that basket. So I went ahead and just tore some more of the check fabric and used another one of those crockery stamped pieces and cut that down to the right size and glued them together, and then just went ahead and glued them directly onto the basket. And that is absolutely one of the easiest things that you can do with one of those Dollar Tree baskets. Pick one up for $1.25, stamp a piece of fabric, get another piece of fabric underneath it. In the end, I did tie another piece of the check ribbon kind of in one of the corners to just add something to it, but I thought that it came out nice and looks really cute with the rest of this vignette. And then this is my piece that I got a couple weeks ago at the dump, which I'm sure was a spice rack, and it was in fine shape. It had once upon a time been painted with a black chalk paint, but I wanted to add a back to it, so I just measured it, went downstairs to my garage to see what I had, and I had some beadboard, so I asked my husband if he would just cut some of that down for me to fit the back of that, and then we did go ahead and glue that with some wood glue, and glued the pieces together first, and then glued them to the back of the spice rack, and then we put a heavy weight on top of it to hold it and let that stay for a number of hours so that it would make sure that it was good and tight. Then I did go ahead and freshen up that paint. It just had some scratches in it and looked a little worse for wear. So I just took the same black chalk paint that they probably used and went ahead and painted over that with just one good coat of paint inside and on the shelves and everywhere else, just to freshen that up. And I would have loved to have sanded the back and, changed the color of that wood to a little bit less of an orange color. But honestly, at this point, I was running out of time. And I didn't mind the look of this together. It obviously depends on your kitchen. But I think that it came out sweet, and hopefully it will go to a good home for somebody who needs a primitive country looking spice rack. And here is a final reveal to see all of these pieces together. Also, you may have noticed the desk that I am displaying this on is a barn board with hairpin legs. I will try to remember to link the video that I made that with, because I know that those are very popular, and you can see how exactly I made that piece. And I would love to know what you think of primitive country today. That is not my typical, but I do like it occasionally to do something different. And I know a lot of people still decorate that way, so mix it up a bit. Actually, my next video will probably be a little more cottage, so stay tuned for that. And thank you for stopping by. Do not forget to check out the playlist, and I will see you in the next one.